Hello, everyone, and welcome to the iBug Cafe. I'm your host, Sree. This is episode 110, and today is July 14th, 2024. I hope everyone had a fantastic 4th of July. So here at the cafe, we typically take an in-depth look at an iOS app, and today we'll focus on the camera app. And before we get started, I want to personally thank each of you for attending this cafe in person and for all those who'll be listening to this cafe either on our website or podcast or in our YouTube channel. And if you find any of our videos helpful, please hit the like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that the next time our very own Julie uploads our videos, you'll be notified. We feel the need to know what is going on here at iBug today. So our very own call sign, Miss Ladybug, Sandhya, please enlighten us as to what is going on here at iBug today this week.
All right, Sree, thank you very much. We have a busy week. Let me tell you something every day. So let's start with that. Everything is going to be here on Zoom, where you are right now, and all times are central. So, like Sree said, we're going to have the next hour and a half to talk about the iBug Cafe and the photo app. Then on Monday, we'll have our iBug Buzz from 7 to 9, talking about all things relating to your iPhone, the apps, the peripherals, all that good stuff, and how those things come together. So come for that. You can ask any questions, and we'll have a couple of demos as well. You get real-time answers to your real-time questions. And then on Tuesday, we'll have the Mac Buzz, where from 5 to 6, all questions relating to your Mac and how it works with voiceover and accessibility-wise. So come with that on Tuesday. Wednesday is Android Insight from 7 to 8:30. There we can talk about all the things relating to the Google platform, Android platform, the A-Lady, and all her friends. So it's always a wide range of topics that we can talk about there. Then on Thursday, iBug Trekkie Talk from 8 to 9:30. We're going to be doing Deep Space Nine, DS9 for our Trekkie friends. Season 1, episodes 15 and 16. Then we'll have the iBug Night at the Virtual Movies on Friday from 8 and beyond. Social time is at 7:15. There we'll have Name That Tune, some bad jokes, and then some argle bargle or get to know each other. And then after the movie, we'll have a discussion and trivia. So we have a full week. And if you want to know more about iBug, you can visit our website, ibugtoday.org, ibugtoday.org, where you can find out about all the events we have. We have 21 in total social and training events. So luckily for you, I'm not going to go through all of them right now. But please subscribe. All of our services are free. And we also have a mentoring program, which is also free. All this information is on our website. All right. Well, we are ready to get started. Sree, handing it back to you.
So, Sandhya, I do have a question to ask you.
Uh-oh. What?
Um, since you are an officer, am I supposed to salute you every time I see you?
No, it's not necessary.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So now it's time to go around and have everyone introduce themselves. I have an icebreaker question. It's very simple. Do you use the native Apple camera app? Just say yes or no to that question. Please let me know who you are, where you're calling from, and if this is your first time here at the cafe, please let me know. So we're going to go ahead and unmute, and then let's go around and introduce ourselves.
This Terry from Arlington Heights. And hello, Judy. I'm sorry I missed seeing you in person in Florida. But yes, I do occasionally use the native app.
All right. Welcome, Terry.
Camera app.
This is Pete, and I'm in Florida, and yes, occasionally.
Okay. Welcome, Pete. All right. Welcome, Julie.
Hi, this is Pam Bouncy-Fin. This is my first time to the iBug Cafe. I live in Virginia, and I use the native app also.
And welcome, Pam. And Pam, by the way, how did you hear about us?
I'm part of the VIP Reston group and the Vienna group, so I get all the info shares. So that's how I found out about this. Plus, I've heard you on other calls in Virginia, and I have yet to meet you, so I can't wait to meet you one day.
Likewise, and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, who's next?
Robert.
Misty.
Let's go with Misty first.
Yeah, hi, it's Misty, the first-time listener, first-time caller. So to speak, I found out about you guys through the Blind VI tech list.
So. All right, well, welcome, Misty. All right, who's next?
Yep.
Hi, this is Deborah. I'm in Dallas, and I do occasionally use the camera app.
All right, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Carla from the UK, and yes, I do occasionally use the camera app too.
Welcome, Carla.
Marcia in Florida, and I very rarely use the picture app. Maybe I'll use it more now.
Okay, well, welcome.
This is Ed in Georgetown, Ontario, and I try.
All right, welcome, Ed.
Cindy in Illinois, and I don't really take pictures yet.
All right, well, hopefully after today you might be. Welcome.
This is Jake from Michigan.
All right, go ahead, Jake.
This is Jake from Michigan, and I occasionally will use the camera app, not very often.
All right, welcome, Jake. And was that Pat?
Thank you.
Pat, Ohio, and yes, but not a lot.
All right, welcome, Pat.
This is Debbie in Franklin, Tennessee, and I do not use the camera app except for OCR things, but I'm hoping to learn.
All right, welcome, Daisy.
Misty from New Jersey, and yes, I use the camera app.
Okay, welcome.
This is Jody from New Hampshire, and occasionally I do use it.
All right, welcome, Jody.
Thank you.
This is Dan from Southern California. Yes, I use the camera app.
Welcome, Dan.
Patrick and Leslie from Arlington. Yes, we use the camera app.
Welcome, Patrick and Leslie.
This is
Bridget
Intisar.
from Atlanta. I attempt to use the app.
Okay, well, welcome. Who's that?
Bridget.
I heard you, Bridget. Someone else was there. Who was the next person?
Yeah, this is Intisar from Iowa, and I don't have enough confidence of using the app, so I usually hand the phone to my husband to take the pictures.
Well, like I said, hopefully after today you'll be taking some pictures.
Yes, thank you.
Who's next?
I'm Rex. This is Roy in Fort Worth, and I do use the camera app. I just share it to be my eyes for descriptions and love it.
Yeah, good point there. Welcome, Roy.
Paul in Columbus, and yes, occasionally.
Hi, welcome, Paul.
Dana from Cincinnati. Yeah, I use it once in a while.
Welcome, Dana.
Greg in Texas, and same, occasionally.
All right, welcome, Greg. Anyone else?
Jennifer from Massachusetts, and yes, I use the app.
Okay, Jennifer, is this your first time here? Or have you been there?
Second time.
All right, well, welcome. All right, who's next?
This is Helene.
Hey, Helene.
I was having trouble getting on, but if it was about the camera app, I don't use it unless I, have to, and then I have to ask Siri open it.
Okay, well, welcome. Who's next?
Elizabeth in Newfoundland, Canada.
Welcome.
I do use the camera app. I do a photography course on the Zoom program with the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, and I get the practice with it that way.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Rex. I'm new to the iBug
and I belong to the Virginia VIP Vienna chapter.
Yeah, well, welcome.
This is Nancy. I live in Chandler, Arizona. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm new, first time to iBug. Robert Stewart introduced me to you, and I know enough about everything to be real dangerous. So I don't really know much about the camera app, and I'd like to learn.
All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
It's Don from New York. I've told people about iBug for years, but I think this may be the first or second time I've attended. I use the camera app, but I don't get good results. And I think the reason is because my visual concepts are so bad that I don't focus the camera very well. So unless somebody is really like telling me what to do, I get horrible results.
Well, hopefully after today you'll get some better results. And how did you hear about us?
Oh, gosh.
Well, if you can't remember, it's okay. All right. Anyone else?
This is Chris from... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
This is Chris from North Carolina. I have not been on here before. I've got spatial learning disabilities, so I'm not sure I can use the camera. So I'm interested to see.
And how did you hear about us?
David Goldsmith.
Okay, great. All right, welcome.
Thank you.
Who's the other person?
Julie in New York State. And
Welcome.
I've been on a couple of these before, and I've used the camera app some, but I've just had horrible luck with it. So I don't use it often.
Well, like I said, hopefully after today you'll be using it. All right, who else?
This is Sandhya in Houston, and I use it pretty regularly for various purposes, so thanks.
Like for selfies?
Yeah.
All right, welcome, Sandhya. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, Michael in Texas. I use it all the time. I'm an expert at taking selfies of my nose hair.
All right. Anyone else? Going once?
Julie
Yeah, go ahead,
in
Julie.
Texas, and I have been here a couple of times, and I've used it a couple of times, but not very well. So hopefully I can learn.
Okay. Anyone else? Going once, twice. This is Sree. I'm in Springfield, Virginia, and I do use the camera occasionally. All right, namaste. This is Sree, and welcome to the iBug Cafe. It is often said a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, in order for us to take a picture, we first need to know how to take a picture. And if you don't, or never use the camera, then today you're in for a treat. And that's because we have a special guest who's going to show us how to use our native camera app. Now, before I give the mic over to our presenter, let me give you a little background about Judy Dixon. Judy lives in Arlington, Virginia for the past 41 years. Judy worked as the Consumer Relation Officer at the National Library of Services for the Blind and Print Disabled, located at the Library of Congress here in Washington, D.C. In 1974, Judy earned her BA from Stetson University in Florida. In 1976, an MA from Adelphi University in New York. And in 1980, a PhD in clinical psychology, also from Adelphi. From 2007 to 2011, she served as the chair for the Braille Authority of North America. And from 2008 to 2016, she served as the secretary of the International Council on English Braille, ICEB, and currently serves as the president. She has published numerous professional articles. Her hobbies include writing books for the National Braille Press about things that are important to her. And this includes Braille as well as mobile devices. She has authored or co-authored 17 titles, and I would highly recommend you check out one of her books called 31 Cool Things You Can Do with Your iPhone. So, Judy, I want to introduce you to iBug Cafe, and we need to understand the camera app. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you.
All right, Sree, thank you very much. And it's great to be here. I hate to start by an apology, but I will. I've, like many people, have spent the last couple of weeks at conventions, and probably like also many people, I came home sick. So I'm struggling with some bronchitis here. So I will probably be muting myself from time to time to cough. But what I'd like to do is break this up into kind of small segments. I'll talk for a while, and then we'll take some questions for a while, because I think I can best help you by answering the questions that you have and that you want to know. And I'm not just going to talk about the camera app. I'm going to start by talking about just taking pictures. And I have written 2 books on iPhone photography. The first one was called Get the Picture, and it's very out of date now. It was written in 2014. But the second one was called Capturing and Sharing the World, and it was written in 2020. And it's still pretty relevant. It's the National Braille Press still sells it. I don't get a commission, so I can promote it shamelessly. But I would encourage you, if you are interested in learning how to take pictures, there's an extensive section in that book on the camera app, a lot more than I'm going to go into today. But there's also a fun section in that book that I thought was really great. I have a good friend who's a professional photographer. And what I did with that book was I would take a picture of something. Like I cooked a pan of muffins, and I took a picture of these muffins. And then I sent him the picture. Okay, what's wrong with this? And he wrote pages of critique about my pictures, and okay, well, this is good and this isn't good, and this is what you should have done, and this is what you could have done. And I learned a lot, and so will you by reading about what I did, or kind of assumptions I made, and what turned out to work best and what turned out not to work best. So I'm going to start by talking about taking pictures. And why does a blind person want to take pictures? Well, the obvious answer, I mean, we've all been taking pictures for a whole long time. Whenever we use an app like Seeing AI, or when we scan a photo or scan a page and we want to read it, anything like that we do, you're taking a picture. And it's really the same principles are true when you take a picture of a page to read it, or when you take a picture of your dog. We were talking about Bastille Day today, and today is also my guide dog's 5th birthday. So I was taking some pictures of her earlier today, because I like to take pictures of my dogs on their birthdays. And it's the same thing. Whatever you're taking a picture of, the principles are still the same. And now with all this AI that everybody's doing, we've got Be My AI and Ira AI and lots of stuff. And the better picture that you can take, the more accurate answer you're going to get. So that's a really important thing to think about when you're asking yourself, why should I bother worrying about taking a good picture? It's really important to take a good picture. So I'm going to go through a few things that you should think about when you're going to take a picture. These are things to think about before you even start. And yeah, sure, you can grab your phone and take the picture and worry about the details later. But if you're really thinking about taking a picture that you want it to be really good, it's helpful if you think about these kinds of things. So let's start with orientation. Should the picture be taken in portrait, that's long ways up and down, or landscape. That's from side to side. And most of us, and I do this all the time when I grab my phone and I take a picture, I take almost all my pictures in landscape. But actually, most photographs are taken in, I take all my pictures in portrait. I hold my phone up and down when I take the picture. But most pictures are taken in landscape because sighted people's vision is landscape. People's two eyes are side by side. So their vision is wider than it is tall. And people are used to seeing landscape. Think about a television screen. It's wider than it is tall. Although these days they're so huge, who can tell? But the landscape is a much more common view of the world. So unless you're taking a picture of something tall and skinny, it's best to take landscape. And one of the things that the phone does to help with this is when you're taking a picture using the camera app, if you turn your phone horizontally, get it positioned just like you want it, if you press one of the volume buttons, that will actually take the picture. So it's easier than trying to double tap on the screen to get that picture taken. So distance, how far away should you be from the primary subject of the picture? This is a tough one and kind of depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to show the whole scene? Do you want to have some background? In general, if you're taking something that's 3 feet wide, if you're using the phone camera that is the wide angle, not the ultra wide, but just the wide angle. And that's those of you who have SEs, those of you who have iPhones 8 and earlier, and those of you who have phones that only have one or two cameras, you're probably using the wide angle camera. And it's kind of easy to figure that one out because it's however wide you want it to be. If you're taking a picture of something that's 3 feet wide, you want to be at least 3 feet back. But the best way to do this is when you're learning about what can your camera see. So a cool way to do that is to hold your camera in front of you and then call somebody, call a friend on FaceTime, call Ira, call Be My Eyes, call whoever you ever call, and then hold your hand out in front of you and move your hand around. Can you see my hand? Tell me when you can't see my hand anymore. And it'll be an easier way to figure out what's visible and what isn't. Background. Let's talk about background. You need some. You don't need a lot, but you don't want to have no background at all, but you do want to have some background. But you don't want your background to be cluttered. You don't want a bunch of stuff in the background that either you don't know is there or is something that you wouldn't necessarily want in the picture. So you want to make sure that there's not a lot of junk in the background, but you do need something in the background or your picture will not look balanced. Lighting is super important. Is there enough light? What direction is the light coming from? Is it so if the light is coming from straight above you or straight behind you, that's good. If it's coming from straight in front of you, that's not good because your phone will focus on the light and not get the thing you're trying to take a picture of. If you're not sure, you can always run one of those light detecting apps to make sure there's enough light that you'll be able to have good light in your picture. Sometimes you might need to add more light. In general, you do not want to use your camera's flash. It's more likely to cause problems than it is to help. So if you don't know which to do, don't do it. But if you know it's dark, then go ahead and use the flash. But lighting is really an important thing to worry about. Glare. Is the thing you're taking a picture of shiny? If it is, it can cause glare. And people who wear glasses, sometimes those glasses can cause glare, and you have to worry about that. And shadow. Is something going to cast a shadow on your like your hand? If you're holding your phone above something that you're taking a picture of, your hand might be casting a shadow. So that you need to make sure that the lighting is coming from a direction that isn't going to cast a shadow. And probably the most important thing of all is stability. What's the best way to minimize the possibility of movement of the phone? Even a small amount of movement can cause problems with your pictures. And you want to have your phone be as stable as you possibly can. Now, there's a bunch of ways to do that. You can brace your elbows on your sides if you're standing up. If you're sitting down and you're at a table, you can brace your elbows and then hold your phone between your hands. But you want to try to, rather than just winging it and holding your phone up in the air and waving it around and taking a picture, you want to try to stabilize your phone as much as you can so that you don't get a lot of movement, and that will really help. When I was working on my first book in 2014, I hired a professional photographer to come and she told me a lot of these things, but to come and teach me how to take pictures. And when I met her for the first time, she said, "Well, I looked on the internet and I found a lot of pictures taken by blind people, and the thing that I saw the most is people don't know how to hold their phones still." So I guess that's something that a lot of us do, but it is something that's very, very important. Why don't we stop here for just a second and let's see if there are any questions.
All right, thanks, Judy. The way it's going to work is you're just going to state your name. I'm going to call upon you, and you can ask your question. I'll ask everyone else to stay muted during that time. And if you did ask a question, just refrain from asking secondary questions so we can ask others, so we can give others an opportunity. And we don't use the raise hand feature. Just so state your name, and I'll call upon you, and then you can ask Judy your question.
Hi, this is Misty from India.
All right, go ahead, Misty, first.
Yes. Okay, so I don't know if this is too early to ask this. It kind of gets a little more complicated. But my question is specifically regarding using the camera to capture QR codes. A couple of things really quick. The first thing is, since the latest iOS update, it seems that the QR code scanner is having some issues. I asked Ira about it, and they said it was blurring the image when I was trying to get the picture, and it's not wanting to scan the code. And my second question is, if I don't use the QR code scanner specifically, just use the camera, how does one go about capturing and scanning a code through the camera? Because I've tried to get it to work. It says macro detected, and then it doesn't seem to want to scan the code. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. I'm glad you asked this because I actually know quite a lot about scanning QR codes. And you're right, the code scanner does seem to be doing something funky. I've noticed that too. And let's hope it gets fixed in the next iteration because I use it a lot, and I like scanning QR codes. But meanwhile, there is an app, and I can't remember hold on just one second. Let me check on my phone.
Speech on. 8, 5, 7.
Whoops. Okay, let's have everybody hear
7.
I'm gonna unplug my phone. So.
5.
Okay.
2.
Oh, that didn't
4.
work. Good heavens! Oh, I'm such a good phone user. That's great.
7. 8. 5. 4.
Judy, can I ask you a question while you're doing that?
Sure.
So do you find the camera app versus using the QR code?
Oh, I
scanner?
think scanning QRs with the camera app is very difficult.
Okay.
I agree. You can do it, but it's very, very hard. It's hard to get the QR code focused, and it's hard to get it to recognize that the camera app has to recognize that there's a QR code there before it'll put QR code on the screen. And it's a tricky process.
0 people. View off.
Okay, so
Camera,
is it called? The question now is
hashtag NFB24ENK.6. Q 8 apps. QR reader. QR scanner. Qatari Money. Quick watch. Quick switch. Quizzoid. QR block. QR reader.
QR blind. Okay, I recommend the app called QR blind. it's either free or super cheap, and it does a nice job of scanning QR codes.
Good. Thank you.
This is Helene.
Go ahead, Helene.
If I was correct, Judy, you said that your books are in the National Braille Press, but if you are wanting to get them from Bard or Audible, are they also available there?
No, none of my books are available from Bard or Audible. National Braille Press does have them in Word and Daisy format. It's not just Braille. So if you're not a Braille reader, it's possible to get them in a format that you can read. But because National Braille Press sells them, if we put them on Bard, then the National Braille Press wouldn't be able to sell them anymore. So
what about Bookshare?
Same thing. These are books that National Braille Press needs to be able to sell to recoup their costs.
This is Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
So if I have my orientation locked on my phone and I want to take a landscape picture, does the camera app override that orientation lock?
It does. That's a good question.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
It'll still do it. And
this is
passwords camera.
Who's this?
Off.
Dana.
Go ahead, Dana.
Voice cut out. Yeah. You were talking about taking a landscape picture. Which way would you turn your camera with the?
It's probably best to turn it with the
level.
What do you call the volume buttons up? Because
on top
left.
That's right. I just turned my phone. I've run the camera app, and it will actually tell you.
Okay.
Level. You'll hear it go.
Yep.
And you'll be able to tell when it's level, and then you can actually press one of the volume buttons, and that takes the picture. So you can use the volume buttons to take your picture. It'll tell you if there's no people in the
off.
I don't have any people here to show you what unless they see
one face near off.
I just turned it around to face me, and now
off.
And now it knows that there's a person.
Off. Viewfinder. 0 people.
So the middle of we're in the camera app now. Let's talk about the camera app.
Viewfinder. Focus on lock image.
The middle of the app, the vast majority of the app, is the viewfinder. And that's what's focusing on what you're going to take the picture of. And sometimes it will tell you what it's seeing. Doesn't do that very often, but it does do it sometimes. And it will tell you tilt right, tilt left, level.
0 people.
It'll tell you if it sees any people.
Right. Level.
So it's telling me. Now, see, that feels like it's tipped to the right to me. But, I have to believe my phone because my phone is smarter than I am. So it's a funny feeling because it told me to tip it to the right, and now it feels like it's more to the right than it should be. But I'm sure it's true.
Viewfinder.
So
focus on lock.
But up
image.
at the top,
camera control status.
There are
take picture
other
button. Live camera
controls.
Flash.
And let's
right.
talk about those for a second.
0 people.
There's the flash.
Camera controls button collapsed.
You'll hear camera controls button collapsed. Collapsed means it's hiding some of the controls.
Tilt right.
So if you double tap that, that
camera
will
controls.
expand.
Flash off button. Live photo. Flash off. But photographic styles off. Collapse. Live photo. Right.
Live photo is a way to take a picture with about a second of audio associated with it. There's going to be a lot of stuff in here that is probably not
photographic styles.
All that photographic styles is a way to apply filters to your photos before you take the picture. So there are things like warm and cool and things like that. A lot of times people apply those kinds of filters after the fact when they're editing pictures, but this is a way to do it ahead of time. I personally, this is definitely beyond what I'm doing with my photos. So I personally don't use it, but it is there if that's something you want to play around with, making your pictures look more mainstream.
Left. Aspect ratio 4:3.
Aspect ratio, you can change the size and
exposure off. Collapsed. Timer off. Filters off.
You
Collapse.
can put a timer so that if you want to take a picture and then run around and get in it, you can turn a timer on.
Take picture button. Photo and video view. 0 people.
Okay,
Viewfinder.
so
Focus unlocked. Camera.
I'm gonna
flash off. Viewfinder. Focus unlocked. Zoom. Photographic styles off. Timer off. But zoom.
Find one of these.
Focus unlocked. Image. Camera control status. Live photo. Switch button. Selected. Tilt right.
We're gonna
Live
turn
photo.
that off.
Switch button off. Automatic.
There.
Flash off. Flash. Zoom. 1.0. Camera controls. Flash off. Button. Lock. Tilt right. Photographic styles. Off. Aspect ratio. Exposure. Off. Timer. Off. Filters. 0. Take picture. Button.
So
tilt right. Aspect. Take picture.
You don't really
Focus
need
unlocked.
the
Image.
take picture button to take the picture.
Viewfinder.
Anytime
unlocked.
that
Image.
you can either double tap.
Tilt right. Zoom. 1 point. Viewfinder. Focus locked. Viewfinder. Focus
If
locked.
you double
Image.
tap in the middle of the viewfinder,
Focus
you'll
locked.
lock
Image.
the focus. But you
Tilt right. Automatic. Automatic. Camera controls. Zoom. Depth. Off. Automatic. Camera. Automatic.
I've
0
gotten-
people. Photographic style. Viewfinder. Tilt right. Automatic. Automatic. Camera control status. Automatic. Automatic.
my volume control is not
Automatic.
working.
Viewfinder. Camera control status. Live. Selected. Flash. Off. Button.
It can happen that you get so many of these controls open that
Selected. Camera controls. Button.
you have to turn some things off before you can even take a picture.
Automatic.
And
Automatic. Automatic. 0 people. View. Zoom. Automatic. Viewfinder. Tilt right. Viewfinder. Focus unlocked. Image.
so now if you want to see what the picture is that you just took,
Photo and video viewer. Button.
photo
Right.
if you open photo and video viewer, which the button is in the very bottom left corner
Viewfinder.
of
Focus
the
unlocked. Photo and video viewer. Button.
of the screen, if you open the photo and
On
video
today.
viewer,
5:36 p.m. Heading.
it says that at 5:36 p.m. I just took a picture, and it will
All
show
photos.
you
Button.
the one
Back button.
that you most recently took.
Live photo. Time. 5:36 p.m. Toolbar.
Is it gonna tell you
Photo
what it
choose.
is?
Live. Live
No.
actions. Button.
It's not. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't.
All photos. Button. Today.
Now, if
5
you want to go to other photos, you can by just tapping the All Photos button. But it will take you just to the last
Toolbar.
photo that you
Check.
did,
5:37
which
back
is
button.
which is pretty convenient since that's photo you're most interested in. And then you can also
Tilt. Take picture. Button. Automatic. 0 people.
Tilt
right.
close that and go back to the. If you do back, you can close that and go back to your camera.
Viewfinder.
app.
Focus unlocked. Image. Viewfinder. Tilt right. Viewfinder. Focus locked. Viewfinder.
I am-
Focus locked. Image. Camera control status. Live. Off. Camera control. Flash. Flash. Off. Viewfinder. Tilt right.
Hey, Judy.
Yes.
Do you mind just lowering the speaking rate a little bit?
Oh, sure.
That would probably help people
0 off.
understanding.
Off.
Maybe make it about 55% or so.
Okay, let me unplug it for a second.
Language. Hints. Audio ducking. Words. Characters. Vertical depth. Zoom. Headings. Language. Hints.
Okay, this will take a second because
Yeah, no, take your time.
I for whatever reason I don't have speaking rate on my rotor. Should be. So I'm gonna have to go into settings to do it.
That's all right.
Home screen and app lock accessibility. Button. Select voiceover.
Okay, so
While Judy's doing that, is there anyone else that has a question about what she covered so far?
Voiceover practice. Button. Tip. Detection. Speaking rate. Heading. Speaking rate. 58%. 48%.
This is Roy.
Go ahead, Roy.
I was wondering, do you know if there's a way to set up a Siri shortcut to take the picture rather than having to press the volume button?
what was the question?
The question was, is there a way to use a Siri command to take a picture?
You know,
instead
I
of-
think I don't. That's a
Speaking
good
rate,
question.
40
And
dog
maybe somebody
setting.
else knows the answer to that because I do not. But I'm not. I
One
I
password.
think.
that met one
Hang on, let me try.
camera.
All right, we're gonna wing it here, guys. But I think if I I'm back. I've closed the camera app. I'm back to my home screen, and I'm gonna triple tap on camera.
Selfie button.
Yeah, if you triple tap on the camera app, you get the context menu, which is selfie.
Video button. portrait button, portrait selfie button, edit home screen, remove app button, dismiss context menu.
So
button.
you can do selfie and a few
video,
things like that,
selfie,
and start
button,
a video without
selfie,
having to do it from the app. Now, can we do that with
one Viral Explorer?
Can we do that with Siri?
WhatsApp.
I'm not a big Siri user myself, so I take a picture.
This
On
is
camera
Judy.
off. On tilt right. Viewfinder.
Yep.
This is Judy, and I know at one time there was something called Say Cheese that you could set up with Siri, but I can't remember how to do it.
That's a Siri
Tilt right.
shortcut. And yes, you can do that. That's a Siri shortcut, and you could you can set. I remember that one.
Photo and video viewer. Button.
Okay.
Off. Toolbar. Photo. Live photo. Time. 5.
Now, I do know that with voice control, you can say take a picture and it takes a picture.
Actions. Button. All photos. Action. Live photo. Toolbar. Photo chooser. Photo 162 of 1. Live photo. Time. 5:36 p.m.
That's still the same one. Didn't take a picture. It opened the camera app though.
App Store.
The volume control is a good way to do it, only because it's you can hold your phone very stable and then press a button, and that works pretty well. It used to be that you could use the magic tap to take a picture, but that doesn't. I don't think that works much anymore.
Downcast. Messages. Message 1 password 7. Camera.
Sorry, I'm back on the.
That's right. I was going to say, Judy, I have used voice control, and I could say take a picture, and it does take a picture.
Okay. Well, that's a possibility then.
Yeah. Any other questions for Judy for what we covered so far?
This is Terry. Ed.
Okay, let's go to Dan, then Terry, and then I heard someone else. Go ahead, start with Dan.
Okay, Judy, I want to verify that app name is at QR Blind. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, because I want to get it.
All right, thanks. All right, Terry Ann?
So I've never been good to this point at properly orienting my camera so that I can take my picture or scan something, whatever. Is it fair to say that it's kind of a muscle memory sort of thing? And so if I were to get someone to, visually help me to try to get better at this, then would that be one way to
I think you can
make that happen?
I think you can teach yourself. And one thing that I've found worked real well, when I was taking the photo, when I was working on the book in 2020, and I took a lot of photos. And one of the pictures I took was of my cherry tree out in my front yard. And turned out I had, wires behind it and all kinds of stuff. So it was kind of a fun experiment. But what I did is I took a Victor Reader stream and I set it on the ground behind the cherry tree. The cherry tree was big enough so that you couldn't see it. And I turned it on and started playing a book and put it behind the tree. So wherever I walked around in my front yard, I could hear exactly where that tree was and aim my phone at it.
Navigation.
So that was, I think you can, by just using some little tricks, you can figure out where it is you want to point your phone and get get it pointed in the right place to take the picture that you want.
With audible cues, in other words.
Yes.
Is what you're
Using,
yeah. I didn't think of that. Oh, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And who is next?
Misty, real quick one, and actually a comment on checking your pictures if I could. Not stealing your thunder on this. But my question is, whenever you're taking pictures, of course, the camera can be quite verbose. And sometimes I've found it can interfere with me trying to find and use other controls. And so is there any way to avoid that verbosity, to actually be able to use the controls more efficiently with the camera telling you what's in front of you at the same time? And my comment is, as far as learning how to take good photos, I find that when I take a photo that I'm not sure about, I will use something like Be My AI or Access AI to tell me what's in the picture, what's not, and ask it questions to make sure that I've gotten a good picture. I've found that Be My AI is actually much more accurate in general right now than Access AI, but that's just a little bit of a tip for folks.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. And I've done the same thing. The other thing you can do is go into Seeing AI has an explore feature, and you can actually run your finger around the picture, and it will tell you where things are in the picture. So you'll get a good sense of, if you took a picture of a tree, where is that tree in the picture, and you can actually find that out.
Judy,
As far as the app being verbose, the app is ridiculously verbose. I agree, and the only thing that I can suggest that at least what kind of works for me, but it's still verbose, is make sure all those controls are collapsed, because what happens is if you expand the controls, you've just made one button into about 15 buttons. So it means there's even more stuff around the screen.
One password,
I gotta
camera.
get the camera app open again.
Zero camera, viewfinder.
Judy, just can you clarify where you did the long press to bring up the different options? Was it a specific button that you did the long press on, or just
it was
on the...
it was the camera app, the name of it on my home screen.
I got it. Okay.
This is Pete.
Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, Judy, I was trying to think of a way to deal with the buttons and the verbosity. I'm wondering if you were to place the phone camera down on a table or a desk, would that block it from speaking, and then would you maybe have freer access to your controls?
It'll just keep talking.
Keep talking, yeah.
And then it'll complain when it doesn't have enough light.
Okay, thanks.
This is Ed.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, question about some of the controls. I heard exposure as you were going through that. I heard exposure. Now, is that the speed? And if it is, if you turn the exposure up, a faster picture, so less shake, much like if you use a faster film
and that's gonna depend on how much light you have. That'll work fine if you're in a very brightly lighted place. And you're right, you wouldn't have to worry about shake as much. But if you don't have enough light, that will be to your disadvantage. So that's how much you turn the exposure up is gonna. In general, I think I'm told that the auto settings on the iPhone work pretty well for auto exposure and auto focus, and so I just let them have their way, and that's usually pretty fine. I wanted to talk about a couple of other controls. If my phone will stop talking.
Take picture, tilt right, viewfinder.
In the very bottom
image
of the
camera mode, photo, adjustable.
The screen, there's some important controls. And one of them is the photo mode.
Camera mode.
Camera mode, sorry.
Adjustable.
And photo is the default, and that's what it's probably going to be on. But you can slide your finger up and down here, and
portrait, depth effect enable, tilt right.
So that's portrait is a kind of is like taking pictures of people, so that it will focus on the person and
tilt
blur
right.
the background.
Level. Pano, zero people.
Pano is
zero
fun.
People.
Pano is
Tilt
for
right.
taking a
Level.
panoramic picture, and you start it, and then it will give you instructions about moving. Like you can sit in a swivel chair and just keep swiveling your phone around, and it will take a great big wide angle picture over several seconds.
Tilt right. Pano, zero
Okay,
portrait.
the pano's at the top,
zero
so
photo.
I'm going back
Zero
down.
Video.
Video.
People.
There's
zero
what
people.
you can do to start a video.
Cinematic. Zero people.
Cinematic, that's another kind of video.
Slow-mo. Zero people.
Slow-mo, you
zero
can take
people.
a slow motion picture of something.
Time lapse. Zero
Time
people.
lapse.
Time lapse.
And that's it.
Zero slow-mo. Cinematic. Video. Photo.
They've
portrait,
changed
Pano,
this in this
zero
last
people, Pano,
iteration. There used to be something called Square because people posted
tilt left.
Square photos to things like Instagram, but that seems to be gone. So I guess maybe people don't post
tilt
anything.
right.
Instagram
Zoom.
nowadays.
Take picture.
The other
photo and video viewer. Photo and video. Camera mode. Camera mode. Take picture. Viewfinder. Tilt right. Take picture. Button. Zoom. 1.0 time. Camera mode. Pano. Photo. Camera mode. Pano. Portrait.
I've left it in Pano.
Photo.
I got to put it back in photo. There we go.
Take picture. Viewfinder. Camera control status. Live photo. Switch button. Off. Camera controls. Flash. Off. Flat. View. Tilt right. Photo and video. Take picture. Button.
Hey, Judy.
Yes.
When it gives you a tilt right, tilt left, do you get any haptic feedback?
You do. I also get haptic feedback for that.
And it's different when it's tilt left or tilt right, or is it the same?
It's the same to me.
0 people.
If it's different, I can't tell.
Camera. Photo. Zoom. Tilt left. Viewfinder. Take picture.
I have
button. Level.
I'm trying to find the camera chooser.
Tilt right.
Because it's also in the bottom right.
Viewfinder.
But it
focus. Camera control status. Flash. Live zoom. Camera tilt right.
This tilt right, tilt
level.
I mean, and I don't know of any way to turn that off. And I think it would be very helpful if they did have a way to turn that off.
Level.
Because if you're not trying to take a picture, if what you're trying to do is get your picture set up, these controls can be kind of intrusive, as you can see.
Photo and video view. Camera chooser. Back face.
There, that's right to the right of the photo and video chooser, which is right in the bottom left, is camera chooser. And then you can use this button to toggle back and forth between the back-facing camera and the front-facing camera. The front-facing camera is what people use for selfies and other like if you
level.
Stop it. If you do a FaceTime call, it will default to the front-facing camera. And it's important to be aware of which camera is going to be active on your phone, because you can find you took a video of your jacket pocket instead of the rest of the world. Depending if you have your camera chooser facing the wrong way. So it's very important to know which way it is.
Tilt right.
Any questions?
Zoom. Level. Off.
All right. Does anyone have any questions with what Judy's covered so far? Just state your name and I'll call upon you. Now, Judy, one of the things that I have is kind of a difficulty is landing on that camera to convert it between photo and video. So it's not like it's in the. Is there a quick way to find it? I know, like you were trying it also.
Focus unlocked.
Yeah.
Photo and video.
If you go. The way I do it is to go to the very bottom left corner of the screen,
take picture,
and then go
photo
up
and right,
just up a little bit from there,
picture,
and
button,
and it's
photo and video viewer.
There it is.
Button.
So it's in the bottom left corner, but up just a little. What happens is this viewfinder is behind everything. It's behind all the controls. So as you go through the controls, you'll keep encountering the viewfinder again. And it's not like it's all those different places. It's just behind everything. So as you move off of a control, you're going to move back onto the viewfinder, which is behind all the other controls.
Anyone else have any questions?
Zero.
Yeah, this is Intisar.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. When you said to hold the camera right in front of you, is it, I wanted to understand, I see some people like hold it against, right in the front of your face, in the front of your chest, or how would you hold it? How high in your hand when you're trying to take a picture?
When I'm holding it, I would put my elbows as tight against my sides as possible. I have the phone in my two hands. My thumbs are I have my phone long ways. So I have my phone in landscape mode with the power port to the left and the top of the phone to the right. I meant to mention this at the very beginning of this, and I forgot to do it. I am using a iPhone 15 Pro, and the camera app does vary depending on which iPhone you have, because it depends on which cameras the iPhone has and all of that. So if you find that you try to use your camera app and your camera app doesn't have the things that my camera app has, that's why, because it does vary from different phone to different phone.
I have SE third generation.
Yeah, then you will have fewer controls in your camera app. So anyway, back to how to hold it. It's so I hold it with on its side, and with the screen facing me, the back camera facing away, and the phone with my thumbs under it. My fingers are on top of the phone, and is about as stable as I can possibly hold it, so that I can get one of my fingers onto the volume control button to take the picture. But I and it's below the level. It's probably about the level of my chin, I would guess. And that's the way I almost always take a picture.
This is Pete. I had a question.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Pete.
550, try again.
Judy, just curious, have you been holding the camera up the entire time?
Not even moving it all around.
Okay, but you're still holding it. It's not resting.
Yeah, no, that's why it keeps talking though, is because
Yeah.
it's
one.
My phone just locked again.
Have you developed new arm muscles from?
Excuse me, guys. I need to take a short water break here.
Sure. Yeah. Take your
I'll be
time.
back.
Anyone else have any questions? Things that Judy has covered on the camera app so far?
This is Deborah. I have a question.
Go ahead, Deborah.
Do you have any tips about taking pictures of checks for deposit, and also tips about how to organize your photos so that you can find all those quick photos you're taking for AI and delete them?
Well, give me your second question again. Just
for a lot of the AI apps, they want you to take a picture, and then they'll look at it. So I don't want to delete all those. I don't want all those zillions of pictures in my photo gallery to stay there. So is there a way to set in the settings to set it so that I can find those pictures really easily and quickly and delete them and make sure I'm not deleting something else, I guess?
Okay. Thank you. Your first question about depositing checks. I actually deposit checks quite frequently using my iPhone. And the way to do that is with your bank's app. You don't use the camera app to take the picture of the check. You actually use your bank's app to take the picture of the check. And different banks, unfortunately, have different better and worse abilities. I happen to use Wells Fargo. And my Wells Fargo app is pretty amazing at telling me, get closer to the check, darker background, things like that. And I find it works pretty well.
Oh, well, hopefully my bank's app will be that way too. Then I'll try it.
But try it. You have to do it with your bank's app, and your bank's app will be able to give you pretty good instructions.
Good, thank you.
As far as quickly deleting, one of the tricks to figure out what is this the picture I just took is time. And if you just keep track of when you're starting to take all those pictures, and then well, let's see, I did that between 5:31 and 5:38. And then you can just make sure. But I don't know of a quick way to do it. I just know that I keep track of time.
Tilt left.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Judy, is there a way to delete multiple pictures at one time, or you can only do one?
There is. And when you're in the Photos app, there's a select at the top. And when you go into this edit,
left.
And then each one, you just, as you select each picture, it'll just say selected. selected, and then you get a zillion of them selected, and then the delete button will say delete 23 photos selected, and then you can delete them all at once.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you, guys. Because since I don't use the camera very much, I don't use the photo app very much because I can't tell what the photos are. Or so thank you. That's a good tip.
Any other questions for Judy for things that we've covered so far?
This is Misty again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually more of a comment, if I may, on the AI situation. So as I understand it, if you take a picture through one of the AI apps, like directly from Be My AI and the Be My Eyes app, or directly from Ira with the Access AI, and you get a description, as I understand it, it does not automatically save it. You know, if you go into the camera app and take a picture and then share it with one of the AI apps through the share sheet, then of course it will save it. But if you're going directly through the apps, I don't think it automatically saves. So you may not have as many pictures if you're doing it that way as you think.
I agree with you. I don't think it does either. That has not been my experience to find a lot of extra photos.
Right.
Right.
I want to
Pat.
Go ahead, Pat.
Go ahead.
Okay, what is the purpose of the live photo again?
Live photo adds 1 second of video and audio to your photo.
0 people.
I personally have not found this feature very useful. When it first came out in several iOSs ago, everybody was all excited. Oh, maybe we can use this as a way to label the photos. Well, 1 second is not very long. And
no.
And trying to get that 1 second to coincide with you're saying, my house, or what it for me this has not worked. But
0 people.
If other people have found it successful, maybe they could tell us how they did it. But
I couldn't figure out the purpose.
Yeah,
of it.
and that's the purpose. But it's I haven't found it very. I keep it turned off.
Thanks.
And Judy, having live photo, is there any disadvantage when it is on? Does it impact other areas?
Only in that the pictures are bigger.
Okay.
And I'm actually substantially bigger.
0 people.
I am not even moving my phone. It is sitting here just chattering.
I just turn speech off.
This is Jake. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So I'm left-handed. So when I take a picture in the way that you're describing to hold it in landscape mode, if I do that,
I'm left-handed too, and I have to take my pictures with my right hand.
So are the volume buttons going to be on your right-hand side or the left-hand side?
They're on the right-hand side.
Right hand on the bottom?
No, they're on the top.
Oh, on the top.
You want them on the top.
Okay, and the screen facing you?
Well, they're not. Yeah, the screen is facing you.
Okay. But when I do that, and I have it in my hand right now, I'm holding the volume buttons are on the bottom.
Well, then turn it over. Turn it over.
Okay.
What's it on?
Facing. I see, but then when I turn it, the volume buttons are on my right.
Yes, the volume buttons are on the right.
Okay.
I know.
I guess that makes sense now.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
I want to talk about accessories, because there are quite a number of accessories that are can be quite useful, and one of them is tripods. There are tripods for every size imaginable. There are tiny little tripods that are only a foot tall that you can use when you're just have your phone on your desk and you want to scan a piece of paper or something like that. You can use there are large tripods. I have 4 or 5 different sizes of tripods, and I find them extremely useful when I'm not just taking pictures, but scanning pages or even depositing checks, and I might use a tripod for that. So a tripod can be very useful. There's also things called lazy brackets, which is just amazing. These are twisty, not cords exactly, more like pipes, but you can twist them into all different shapes, and they're very, very, very inexpensive accessories. They have them on Amazon. They have a million different ones, and it has a phone holder, so a place where you can put your phone, then attach your phone to a desk or table, and then just twist this thing all every way, shape, and form, and aim it where you want it, and then you can suspend it over paper. You can suspend it over something you're trying to, and if you're trying to do multiple things, like, scan a whole bunch of different things, you can just suspend your phone in the air and then use your hands to manipulate the things you're trying to do. There's also different, I don't use these so much anymore. Years ago, before phones had a lot of features in their cameras, there were actually lenses you could attach to your phone. And that was kind of cool. But these now with modern phones is not so important anymore, because we can do a lot of large expanding, telephotos and all this stuff with the software and the lenses we have on our phones, rather than having to have special lenses to do that. But I can't say enough good about tripods. And they're a very, very helpful thing when you're trying to take photos. Excuse me a minute. I'm going to cough some more. Hold on. Okay, I'm back.
Judy, regarding the tripod, is there a particular one that you find very useful, that's easy to carry around, as you're taking these pictures that you're doing?
The problem is they change so much. I mean, I have them for years, and I remember Joby, Joby was a brand that had nice tripods with little twisty arms. You could attach it to a stair railing, or just or stand it up somewhere. I mean, and unfortunately, it's tricky with them on Amazon to actually know which ones you're seeing, but you can try to get some descriptions. These days it's quite fun to use some of the description features to actually get it to describe the things on Amazon, like the Jaws Picture Smart AI thing.
Any questions about tripod or things that we've covered so far?
Michael?
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, just a comment. Judy mentioned, talking about the camera chooser, front, back facing cameras. And Judy probably knows this, but when I'm taking a selfie, and especially if there's a group of, say, 3 or 4 people that I want in the photo, then I'll go ahead and use the back facing camera and then use the zoom control and zoom it down to like 0.5. And so you get a wide angle, and that'll include, allow you to include several people in a selfie. And I found that really kind of a neat little trick somebody showed me.
So this is Sree. Michael, so I'm assuming the screen is facing the other end, right?
I mean, you'd have to flip the camera over so that the back-facing camera is towards you now.
And how are you controlling the zoom when it's the other way around?
I go ahead and zoom it before I flip it.
Okay.
Flip it down to 0.5.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing
Judy, this is Chris Bell. I just wanted to ask you, when you're using it to scan a printed document, how do you control the distance of the camera from the page to get the print so it's tight enough in focus?
That's why using one of these brackets to hold your phone is really helpful, because you can scan it, and if it doesn't come out quite the way you wanted it to, you can move it a little closer. But generally, about 10 to 12 inches works best. And then using an app that will actually tell you if the whole thing is in view is helpful too.
Like which app do you recommend?
I think VoiceStream Scanner is amazing.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Really good. Really good.
This is Greg.
Just Carla.
All right, so we'll go to Greg, then Carla.
Yeah. So for Michael or for Judy, does Zoom work on if you're taking a selfie with 3 or 4 people? Does Zoom work on that as well as the rear-facing camera?
I don't know, Mike. It certainly works on the rear-facing camera. One of the points I was going to make about facing cameras, time was when our phones had significantly inferior cameras for the front-facing camera. We'd have like a 4-megapixel camera for the front-facing and a 12-megapixel camera for the back-facing. That is no longer as true as it used to be. And my 15 Pro has the same megapixels for both the front and the back facing. So I used to avoid using the front facing camera because it was an inferior camera, and I would always use the back facing camera for everything. But that's not the case anymore. So I should probably start using my front facing camera more than I do. But I've never used Zoom with my front facing cameras. I actually don't know.
Yeah, Michael, the Zoom does work with the front-facing camera, but like you were saying, Judy, I still kind of am used to using the back-facing because it may give you a little higher quality photo, but not that much really anymore.
Not anymore. It used to be very different.
Right.
Go ahead, Carla.
Yeah, this was just a tip on scanning. If you're scanning freehand, which I have done, at a push if I can't get hold of anything, any tripod or scanning stand. The tip I use is I'll place my camera lens in the center of the paper, and then I will lift my phone and try and keep it as level as possible. Obviously, if you've got something that will give you vibrations if you've tilted it or something, that's also handy. So, and then I'll raise it as far as if I were to put my elbows on the table where the page is, that sort of height, and then go from that. That usually then gives me a good reference point of when the picture is in focus, so that I get a good clear scan. And it once you've done it a few times, there is muscle memory, so that you then start to learn roughly where your phone needs to be before you can get a clear picture when you do free scanning.
That's a really good tip, and you're right. This is also the advice that the bank apps give when you're scanning a check, is to put the phone in the middle of the check and then just raise it. And in the case of the check, you don't have to raise it all that far, because usually only 5 or 6 inches. And some of the bank apps are smart enough to tell you when you've raised it enough and when the whole check is in view.
Now, Judy, we talked about, cameras on the SC and the cameras on the Pro Series. Question, is the quality of the picture much better on the other cameras, where it would give you a much better benefit when you're looking for AI to describe the picture?
The phones generally have, 2 or 3 cameras these days. I don't think there's any iPhones now that have one. Well, maybe an SE. I'm not sure. But yes, the cameras are of different qualities. And, when you read about your phone, you can certainly read about the megapixel level and the different features of your various cameras. One of the really important things to think about is the angle. It's called field of view is the technical term for the camera, and what the angle it's going to show you at any particular time. And that angle varies a lot. Some of the smaller ones can be like 50 degrees, and the big ones, the wide angle ones, the ultra wide angle they call them, are as much as 120 degrees. So the cameras not only vary in terms of the megapixels and how grainy the quality is, but they're also going to vary on how big of a picture are you going to get. How much of the view of the world are you actually going to get? And yes, these will all make a big difference when you're doing things like AI, because you're going to get a variety of uh, different results from very different phones.
Thank you. Any questions?
What's the name of those?
Who's this? Just remember to state your name when you have a question. Right, I think we lost.
Someone have a question?
Yeah. Did someone else have a question?
Yeah, while you're waiting, it's Elizabeth here.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Taking the picture with the volume button, does that work on older phones as well as the newer ones?
Oh, I think so. I've done it on my phones for a long, long time, and I believe it goes way back.
Okay, thanks.
And I like using the volume because I think you get a much more stability on the phone when you're using the volume instead of trying to tap.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Dana with a comment.
Go ahead, Dana.
Yeah, you were talking about the live photo. I have mine turned on, and that I found out that makes the shutter sound of the camera, and that reassures me that it does take the picture. And when it's off, it doesn't make the sound.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
That would be inconvenient. You're right.
Yeah.
This is Carla with another tip.
Go ahead, Carla.
If you're going to press the volume button, don't press and hold it, because if you press and hold it, you'll take loads of photos.
You'll get
a
burst.
photo burst. Yeah.
Actually, but burst can be a good thing. If you're thinking that you'd like to take a bunch of pictures and then figure out which one is the best, if you hold down that volume button, it'll go and it'll take literally dozens and dozens of pictures all at once, and then your phone can automatically figure out which one of those is the best. And it who knows how right it is, but its guess is better than mine, so I always take its recommendations. But it can be kind of a when burst is really useful is if you're taking a picture of something that's moving. I don't know why I take a lot of pictures of my dog, and I like to take pictures of her, like when she's running around in the backyard. Well, those pictures are very likely to come out blurry. But it just can so happen that the moon and the stars align, and a picture can come out great even when you're taking a picture of something that's moving. But you have to have a lot of pictures to pick from, and burst is really useful when you're doing that. I mean, you can also just take a video, and then you can take a still shot out of the video. But it's quite fun to use burst for that.
This is
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Intisar. We talked about the live photos, and I wanted to ask, I have my live photo on because of that reason. He said how it makes a sound, the shutter, you can tell that picture was taken, which is nice. But you said, what's the disadvantage? I mean, what is the quality of the picture would be if the live photo is on? What's different than just when turning it off?
The only disadvantage I know of is that the photos are larger. But if you turn it off, you can also get a non-live version of that same photo.
This is Pete.
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
I'm surprised, frankly, that the camera shutter sound is not available on a regular photo.
I'm not sure.
Is there no way to set that?
I'm not sure what all controls that, because I have mine turned off and I'm getting the shutter sound. So I don't know what controls that. I think
I've inadvertently taken a screenshot, and it makes sound. So
Yes, I have two. And let's talk about screenshots because it's a useful thing to know. If you want to take a screenshot, all you have to do is do the volume control and the power button simultaneously, and that will take a screenshot and put that screenshot into your photo roll. But I inadvertently take screenshots more than I intend to.
Michael?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, Judy, I'm not sure if you were planning to talk about this, but Mike, could you say something about using the timer, especially like if you have your camera on a tripod and you want to get in the picture of a group picture or any picture, I guess, if you wanted to get into?
Yes. Oh, my phone has locked again.
Speech on. Show notifications.
What?
On. Zip off. Camera mode.
Okay. Timer. You can as Michael said, you can take a picture of your
Viewfinder. Camera can flash.
see what
Lock
choices
zoom.
it gives us.
1 point camera mode. Take viewfinder. Focus on long.
Where you have to
image.
expand the
Camera
controls to get to
status.
timer.
Live photo. Switch button. Off. Camera controls. Button. Collapsed.
You have to expand
Camera controls.
your
0
camera
people.
controls.
Live photo. Photographic style. Aspect ratio. Exposure. Timer. Off.
There's
Button.
timer. So we'll turn timer
3
on.
seconds.
And you can have 3 seconds.
Filters. Off.
Or you
3
can
seconds.
have
Tilt right. Hints off.
Oops.
Hints on. Viewfinder. Focus on lock. Zoom. Live photo. Photograph aspect rate. Exposure. Tilt right. Filters. Timer. 3 seconds. Timer. 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Yeah, I knew that if you
0
tap it
people.
once and you get 3 seconds,
Right.
tap it again and you get 10 seconds.
Timer. Off.
And then turn it off. So you can
Off.
you those are your two choices for the timer. If you want to set a timer and then run around and get in the
Off.
picture, you have to be quick.
Tilt right. Level.
Judy, when you use the timer, does it give any kind of audible alert about the timer? Like you got
It
3
does.
seconds?
It does. It goes burk, 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 burk.
Okay.
When the last 3 seconds, it'll make a countdown sound.
Okay, good.
This is Ed.
Go ahead, Ed.
Just wanted to mention that if you've got an iWatch, you can click the camera with your iWatch.
Oh, good.
So if you're
good
doing a
point.
selfie, it's just a lot more convenient. Okay.
Yes.
Does the Apple Watch also have a timer instead of just taking the picture?
That's a good question because there is camera. I know you can. I've heard people put their phone somewhere looking at something and then use their watch somewhere else to monitor. So I mean, the camera app on the watch can't take pictures, but it can control the camera on the phone, and it does. I haven't done a lot with that, and
This is Ed.
Yeah.
I believe there's a 3 second countdown on it. I don't know if that's adjustable, but I believe there's a 3 second countdown on the watch.
That's a good question. Yeah, you're
okay.
Maybe Ed, we'll take a look at that on the Monday Night Buzz. We'll take a look at it and see if it's available. Also, Judy, on the camera settings, is there a button to disable the burst?
I'm not aware of one.
Okay.
I have not ever. Yeah, it's called camera mode on the watch. Take pictures after 3 seconds is a button in the camera app on the watch.
This is Greg.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I heard somewhere along the way that if you hold down your volume button, it takes a video instead of just tapping and taking a picture. But what I hear you saying, Judy, is that it does the burst.
Yes.
Is there a way to just go into taking a video by?
I'm not aware of that. I
Okay.
mean, things are always changing, so it's entirely possible that that's something that either changed with a new version of iOS or a new model of the phone or something. I mean, it's this stuff is tough to keep up with, as we all know.
I think if your camera mode is in the video mode, then you can hit the volume up or volume down to start the video.
That you can do. But I think your camera mode would have to already be set for video. But remember, again, you can start a video by doing what I did, the triple tap of the camera icon on your home screen before you ever even open the camera app. If you open that context menu for the camera app, then that's one of the ways to start a video.
Can you tell Siri to either be on the camera mode or on the video mode?
Good question. I don't know.
Okay, I'll take that on the Monday night call then. I'll try and test it. Any questions that we've covered so far? We've covered a lot here. This is good stuff.
This is Sandhya.
Yeah, Sandhya.
Yeah, I was just going to share one tip. I end up taking pictures of my family and whatever, and it does give you, it was saying 0 people, earlier when Judy was doing the picture, and then it even better, it'll tell you 3 faces visible, 3 faces at the top. It'll tell you where they are within the frame, and then it'll tell you centered. So you get a lot of information from the camera itself, including the level that she was talking about. So it's gotten good pictures, and then you get all the comments, oh, blind photographer, but it's all the phone, so it's really
it does up to 10. It does up to 10 people.
Yeah, I haven't gotten 10 people. I've done 4. And they're like, oh, I got all your heads, low expectations are low here, and then they're like, oh my God, she's amazing. So anyway, but it really does give you a lot of good information for taking people.
Mm-hmm.
Judy, do you want to talk about how to identify someone when they show up on the camera?
Identify.
When you take a picture of someone 3 times?
I don't know this.
Oh.
Tell us.
So usually there's a settings where you can take a picture. Like I take a picture of my wife. I had to take her 3 times and then label it. So every time my camera sees my wife, it'll say Rita Roy on the viewfinder, or VoiceOver would say it's Rita Roy.
Is this a function of the camera app?
I have to figure that out because I know there was something that I went in and set it up, just kind of like how we do it with Seeing AI. There's a thing in my phone that I programmed. I'll take a look at it.
I know how to do it in Seeing AI,
right?
But I didn't know there was a way to do it in the camera app. That's interesting.
Well, maybe it's after I take a picture, it shows it has my wife's name on the picture. Maybe that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of that.
This is Sandhya.
Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, there is a way to label. The only issue is we can't see the person to know who it is. But if you can get some help, or if I've tried this, so it'll say unknown picture, or if I've labeled my niece or my dad or whatever, it'll say their names. So if you can get them labeled, it will then tell you, the photograph, who's in the photograph.
And then you can search for other pictures of those people,
right.
And it can do that.
Yes, it's just the initial stage of labeling them is the hard part.
So what I'm saying now is if I take a picture of my wife, I don't have to label it. It'll say that Rita Roy's in the picture. Like somehow I've labeled, somehow the camera has recognized it's my wife.
I think that has to do with the screen detection features that are built into VoiceOver.
Uh-huh.
And I think that it interacts with the photos and you can use those to label photos.
This is Carla.
Yeah, Carla.
One tip that I found really useful was that if you've got your location services switched on, when you take a photo, it will make a note of where you were when you took that photo. So if it was, say, for example, in something that I was doing regarding dressage or something like that, and it was a particular place I was doing it, I could search for that place in my Photos app and find the pictures relating to that place, so that I could then share them with people. So, yeah, another useful trick.
People who have privacy issues, though, need to remember that when you do have location services turned on and you share your photos, it will give them information about where you were at a particular day and time. I read tips all the time about, turning that off but I don't have privacy issues, so it's not.
Misty,
Yeah, go ahead, Misty.
we're going to talk about labeling because I had labeled a picture of me and my cousin. And then now when I'm taking other pictures, it'll still say me and my cousin's name, even though it be me and somebody else or that person by itself. Did I do something wrong?
Did you label it like a graphic? I mean, just, do the label graphic.
I'm not sure what I did. All I know is that every time I look at a picture, it'll say me and my cousin's name on every picture there is.
There are different ways to label things, and if you just label your photo as if you were labeling like a button in an app or something like that, the 2-finger tap and hold way, that doesn't work very well for photos. It will do exactly what you're saying. It'll mean other photos get called the same thing because it can't tell them apart. So it's not the best way to label photos, and there are other ways to do it.
What is the other ways?
Having to do with the various detection modes, screen detection and so forth that VoiceOver has.
Michael?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
I guess an alternate solution for Misty is just, take a picture of her and her cousin and separately label those, and then anytime they're together, it'll tell you two of them are together. Or if it's somebody else, then it won't put her in there, her cousin in.
Yeah, to me, it almost sounds like she labeled the main folder, so every time the picture shows up, it's just giving that title.
Right.
Okay.
Like almost like what you said, Judy. She did a 2-finger double tap and labeled the main thing.
May have done.
So how can I erase that?
You can erase it. You can go to where that label is, do a 2-finger double tap. That label will come up and you can delete it.
Okay.
When we say 2-finger double tap, I mean 2-finger tap and hold.
Oh, okay.
And you'll get an audible alert. You'll get some kind of a tone to let you know that you've done a 2-finger double tap and hold.
Okay.
I think they call it label element. That gestures a label element.
Yes.
I'm sorry, who's that?
Ed?
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
If you go through your contacts and people have put pictures in their contact and you labeled that, is there a certain way that you could label that when you're taking photographs that it would recognize the people in the photographs from the contact picture? Can you do that?
That's a good question. I don't know.
This is Sandhya.
Yes, Sandhya.
Not an answer to that question, but just another way to label. If you have taken a photo, then you tap on the photo and then look for the info button. And then if you swipe all the way to the left, there'll be something that says add caption. And then once you've added your caption, that's also searchable. And then if you share it with other people, blind people or whoever, they can see the caption as well. So I think the other method that Misty was mentioning, because we all were excited about that, and then it doesn't last. So that's all I have.
No, that's a good point. I like to annotate the pictures when I take them. That way, not only I remember it, but I also know what that picture is down the road. Judy, did you have any other topics you wanted to cover on the camera, or did we?
It's after 6:30, so I think we'll.
p.m.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank Judy Dixon for presenting this. This was very informative. I learned a few things about the camera today, so I'm going to go out and play with it. I want to thank all of you guys for attending the cafe today and asking some great questions. I want to thank those who assisted me in the as our bouncers. And Michael and Sandhya, do you have any final thoughts before we call it a night?
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, just a great presentation. Thank you, Judy, for spending this time, especially not feeling well. And just a great presentation. Thank you so much. A little applause here.
Thank you.
This is Sandhya. Yes, I am just so pleased to finally virtually meet you. I've seen your name on many books and, have read many of them. And so we thank you for spending your afternoon with us. And thank you so much. And definitely learned some fun stuff. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I echo all of this. And I would recommend, if you haven't gotten that book, 31 Different Things Your iPhone Can Do, you'll be surprised. She's got some really interesting tips and tricks that you thought your phone can't do, but it can do. And I've been kind of playing around with it. And it can, like, I was listening to the book through an audio format. So I guess there is a little audio button. So it'll just audio read the book to you in that, in the app. I don't know if it's an app, but in the application. So definitely check out that book. And Judy, thank you so much for
thank you
being at the cafe today. I really appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. So with that, we'll call it a night. And those questions that we don't have an answer, I'll listen to it and see if I can bring it up on the Monday Night Bus. All right. Everyone have a fantastic evening. And don't forget to come next month. We're going to cover the Safari app.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Bye, thank you. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Great
Bye,
presentation.
You learned something, Nancy.
Hey, Sandhya.